just when you thought the Guardians series with the White Sox couldn't get any weirder, Wednesday happened. Despite the weirdness, though, everything went the Guardians' way on Wednesday, just about.
Tanner Bobby the Guardians, and you're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Everyone, and welcome to the show today. I'm going to back up. I'm super close. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code all lowercase LockedOnMLB to win $50 instantly whenever you play 5.
Today's Locked On Guardians sweep to finish the final leg, or the first stretch of the final leg of the season. Guardians don't have an off day for a while. We'll talk about how they've come through this first stretch. All good things happening to the Guardians on Wednesday for the most part. We'll get into that. A hitter turning things around at the right time. Actually, 2 of them, and a couple going in the wrong direction. We'll get into a reliever emerging who could be a relief option for them coming up sometime this month. We'll talk about the Tampa Bay series as well. Yeah, Scott Barlow. I don't know what's going on with Scott Barlow, but it's not going to be him. We'll get into who it is. I think most people already know. And then we'll get into the Tampa Bay series ahead.
Yes, it is going to be a fun series. There's always several former Guardians. We'll see Yandy, we'll see Junior, but first you will see me. I'm Jeff Ellis, one of your 2 co-hosts here on Locked On Guardians. Before this, I was a national writer at Scouting 24/7, focused on prospects and the draft. And before that, I was your 4th favorite blogger at every Cleveland sports blog that has or will exist. It's an easy 4 today. I think you can figure it out.
Is it an easy 4?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I know what it is. I won't guess it, but I think I know what it is.
Yeah.
What were you yesterday? You said there was nothing notable yesterday.
0. Well, the funny, so I use this really nice, listen, I'll give them a shot. Nationalpastime.com. You can pick a team and pick the day, and it gives me a historical fact. And the 10th and the 11th are barren for Cleveland facts. So
could have found something.
Yeah. No, there's nothing. No facts found the last 2 days. So I was null set. But according to our AI software, I was like, I can't remember what it decided. Null was instead.
The AI software yesterday had a very interesting mind of its own. I'm Justin Lowry, the other co-host. I've been covering the Guardians prospects since 2007. Been covering them at places like Guardians Baseball Insider. I was the editor-in-chief. Now the News Herald and the Morning Journal. We'll start it off once again for the final time. It's coming up today. When you're listening to this, get your tickets to the Captain's game Thursday night. They could clinch a spot in the Midwest League Championship with a win Thursday. So that should be a lot of fun. Use our link to buy tickets. Use the code LOCKEDON for 20% off. Come hang out with me. Other Locked On listeners get a Tanner Bybee autographed memorabilia. Haven't decided what we're doing yet, but we got a couple things from Tanner Bybee signed we'll give away. It'll be a lot of fun. So come hang out at the game Thursday. The Guardians play the Rays, but come watch Dylan DeLucia pitch. Travis Bazzana, Ralphie Velasquez had a big hit in that game. Jacob Kozar, 2 guys that, both those guys really needed like big hits. Ralphie had started to figure things out where I felt better about him. Kozar, it's hard to say because the first season after you played in college all year is always weird. Plus he's a catcher, so you never know. But the guy definitely needed a hit regardless. So anyway, teams who need a hit as we're recording this right now, the Royals and Yankees are in the 11th inning, tied at 3. Every other game, though, we think, except for the Astros and A's, has gone final while we're recording right now. But as we're recording, it's 5-3 Oakland. So Oakland helping out the Guardians 2 nights in a row. The Guardians' magic number down to 13. It could be down to 12, and they could have a 5-game lead over the Astros. I'm sorry, it could be a 6-game lead over the Astros if the Astros end up losing this game on Wednesday night. Everything went the Guardians' way. On Wednesday, honestly, they won the weird game. We'll get into the weirdness, but the Twins ended up winning, but they're at least in the rearview mirror enough where you can say it doesn't really matter right now, unless the Twins come into Cleveland and sweep them. I think there's pretty much not a whole lot that you can look at and say that you can be worried right now. It's the Royals, but if the Yankees lose in this Royals game, the Guardians will be alone in first place in the AL top record. They'll have the best record in the American League, top seed if the Yankees lose that game. But if the Yankees win and beat the Royals, you gain a game on the Royals, and your magic number goes down to 12. So everything, coming up for the Guardians' way on Wednesday, which is a good time. This was the time for the Guardians to do it too, right? Because you had to sweep the White Sox, which they did. We said going in, they needed a sweep. Like, you don't often say you need a sweep, and we talked about how weird it is to go from, you mentioned going from playing the Dodgers, who were the best team in baseball, to playing the White Sox, where, the fans are not into it because the team stinks, and their team, you don't know what to expect from them any given night. And I think Andre Knott said on the broadcast, he goes, it's bring your own energy series. Like, you have to go out there, and this is the time of year where, a pennant race, a division race should excite you and motivate you. But when you're playing a team like the White Sox, and they're a bad team, and they're bad crowds, you do have to motivate yourselves to win that game.
Our viewership is higher than their crowds. When you combine between YouTube and downloads, we have higher viewership per game than the White Sox are having go to their games right now. And I don't blame those fans, but I feel safe that I can say our viewership totals are higher than the White Sox right now.
They had 11,000 today at their game, supposedly.
11,000. We always know it's not really 11,000 though. Like, if you look at that, we're not 11,000 people.
That's their season ticket base.
Yeah, that's all that stuff. Like, if we gave a count to everyone sitting in the stadium, I guarantee when you combine all of our various streams and stuff, that we are outdoing the White Sox.
Yeah, probably.
Everyone's outdoing the White Sox.
Yeah, they had to bring their own energy. Thankfully, you had some fun things happen, like the 2 infield singles by Lane Thomas, and you had Austin Hedges' home run. That'll give you a jolt of energy because the whole team loves Austin Hedges, and when that guy hits a home run, everybody is excited about that because it's Austin Hedges. But
as much as people hate on him, like, again, we constantly see his impact, and it's not. Yeah, the home run's great today, but that's not his impact to this team.
No, but when he does come through in a spot like that, you see how exciting the team is at.
Yeah,
that's why I always enjoy when Andre puts out the tweets, the videos from the home runs, whoever hits a home run, and the dugout reaction. You see the reaction from the dugout for an Austin Hedges home run. And of course, he's thrilled that he got home run number 69. So of course he's happy about that. And typical Austin Hedges in fashion. So the Guardians are through this tough stretch run here. We didn't really talk about it much, but they don't have a day off until next Monday. So that's the 23rd, I think. So they're playing, I think they played 18 games in 18 days or something. And you've had Alex Cobb go down with a blister. He's been pushed back multiple times, and he's not going to pitch in the Tampa Bay series now. Ben Lively gets hit with a liner off the thigh. And then you've got Matt Boyd, who took the liner off his wrist. He was fine. And then the defense didn't exactly help him out in that third inning either, which made it rough for them. All these weird things happened in this stretch, and you managed to reduce your magic number. And they went 7-6, on I think it was a 9-game, 10-day road trip. They had one off day on the road trip, 3 cities, 9 games, 10 days. And I know everyone kind of has the same schedule breakdown. Like, everybody at some point in the season faces this sort of schedule, depending on how it's arranged. It's tough when you get to September, and you've got a bunch of guys in this team who haven't played this deep in the season before, who are new to base, are rookies or whatever. And you've had the starting pitching injuries, and you've had a bullpen that's been heavily used, especially with a lot of young guys. Like, for them to come through that stretch, I know things weren't super pretty with the Dodgers series. For them to come through the stretch, 7-6 on this road trip. Is that what it was? 7-6? 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
Did they take 3 out of 4 from Kansas City? Like, I'm trying to think. Was it 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 3?
Either way, they came through the stretch.
As you can tell, I'm tired. I have the energy. I'm paying attention, but man, my ability to access recent short-term memory is not going to be high. Like,
they took 2 or 3 from the Royals.
They
took 2. They took
then
1
out of 3, so that's 6-6. Right? No, 3 and 3. And then this, so 6 and 3. Is that what we have?
3, 4, 5, 6 games they won on this trip.
Yeah, so 6
on
and 3.
It was 6 and 3 on a 9-game, 10-day trip in 3 cities. To come through that, I think says a lot. I know, again, they got there in weird ways. We'll talk about how the weirdness kind of unfolded on Wednesday, but they got through a really tough stretch. Now they get to come home. And you got to play Tampa Bay, who, despite the fact they're sort of quote unquote out of the race, they're still a tough team.
They're spitting distance away.
Yeah. And they still have a bunch of roster pieces that are very tough to face night in and night out. Yeah. And you're getting their best pitching in this series, I think. And Then you got the Twins, who are going to be coming in, and the Twins have a huge Cleveland-sized chip on their shoulder when they face the Guardians. Their fan base does, and I think the team does as well. They are so frustrated with how the Guardians are holding on to first place this year. They're going to come in, fighting for their lives. So that's going to be a tough stretch. So this is
just
good.
The Tigers won't go
they
away
got through this.
So they need to keep it up, because right now they're the third wild card right now. They have moved down that list.
Yeah, the Tigers are 3 back, so they still got some ground to make up, but it's within distance. So, I think the Guardians should feel pretty good about how they got through this first stretch, though. I mean, you needed absolute laser focus to beat the White Sox. Like, you could not have a letdown in this series, and they didn't. And the Yankees just beat the Royals, so the Royals are going to move to 4.5 back, and the magic number is now 5 back. They're going to be 4.5, and the magic number is down to 12. So there you go.
There we go. And yes, you and I debated it too. It's like, I would rather have Kansas City lose. Yes, having the top seed is great potentially, but I would rather just not have any chaos in this division. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I think just finishing just with one of the 2 byes is the important thing for this team, given the rotation. And we'll get into pieces of that rotation coming up here on later on the show. I think they just need that first round bye no matter what. And it doesn't matter which one you get, because really all that matters is how hot are you in the playoffs? How healthy are you? And we're getting to get in some guys who are turning it around at the right time. Maybe some who aren't too, all coming up here on the rest of today's show.
But first, Prize Picks is giving you a free pick. Talked about before, the way Prize Picks works is you're going to pick more or less. It's as simple as that on 2 to 6 categories. And why is that so specifically great? Because Caleb Williams is a gimme. He was not good last week. He still threw for more than 1 yard. You just need to throw for more than 1 yard, and you win that part. So then you just got to go through and see where else you're feeling good. Things that stand out. I talked about last week. You could have had it if you'd listened to me, where I talked about the combination of a quarterback. It was Quinn Ewers, however you say his name, the Texas kid who beat up on Michigan, running back and receiver from 3 different teams. They allow you to do some fun things like that. And right now they're giving you free money. And who doesn't want free money? Who doesn't like free money? If you download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, you get $50 instantly when you play 5. That's right. You're getting 50 for playing 5, win, lose, or draw. That code again is LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get 50 instantly when you play 5. You don't have to win to get that 50. It's guaranteed. Head over to Prize Picks. See what stands out to you. Remember, it's as easy as more or less. Prize Picks, run your game.
Check out our friends over at FanDuel as well. They have a great deal going on right now. So we've talked a lot about them, obviously, on the show, as we always do, because we love FanDuel. And right now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. With a YouTube TV base plan, you can watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel this at any time. So enjoy those 3 weeks. Go bet your $5. Watch every Sunday afternoon regular season game out of market. It's a lot of fun. If you're someone who, like me, I don't really have an NFL allegiance right now. I just follow things for fantasy football, and I like to keep up with that. So I use that channel myself to do that and to watch all the players I care about and not the teams. So if you are someone who wants to sit no matter what, if you're looking for fantasy, or if you're looking to watch maybe a team that's out of your market, maybe it's a game that matters to you, maybe you're betting something on FanDuel, this is a great opportunity to get a good rate on this plan. If that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's double your winnings for all of Sunday, September 15th. Pre-game money line bets. Profit Boost will be starting live on Thursday today. So view your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. After you're done listening to us today over at Locked On Guardians, thank you for being here with us. Check out our pal Sully at Locked On MLB to talk about the Yankees walking off the Royals. The Red Sox are hanging around. The Tigers are hot. The Athletics are playing really well. Some of the divisions are starting to come down to the wire here. You got Cleveland. I know Milwaukee's close to clinching as well in the National League. Sully's got that all covered for you.
We got Oakland MLB beating up on Houston right now, so another fun thing for him to talk about.
Yes, that game is now, What is that score?
It was 5-3 in the eighth. Last I checked.
Yeah, it's 5-4 now. So it's a little bit closer. Yeah, check that out. Part of the Lockdown Podcast Network, your team every day. Weird season with the White Sox. I'm glad it's over because I know some people are going to say, why couldn't they just beat the White Sox? Like, in 2017, I think they went like
14-2, right?
I think it was 17. I think it was 17-2 because that was when they were playing 19 games against them.
That's what it was.
That 2017 did just feast on a terrible team because the White Sox, have had a lot of stretches they've been bad. They had a couple where they were good and then they're bad again. And in those games, they just crushed the White Sox. But this is a different team. We have to be honest about that. It is a different team. And it just feels like there's a team every year that no matter how bad they are, you run into them and things just go very weird for you. Like they're always like, I remember in the 90s, like the Royals were not good in the mid 90s, but every time it seemed like the Royals would give Cleveland problems back in the 90s. Every year it's some random team that's not good that gives you an issue. So just been a weird year. And I think Wednesday's game just encapsulated that. I mean, Lane Thomas has 2 infield singles that score 4 runs, and thank God for their base running, honestly, because the Guardians themselves did not have the cleanest game. Yeah, so Jose scores that run on the first infield single. I think Andres Jimenez scored the second run on the second infield single. So Lane Thomas didn't hit a ball out of the infield, but accounted for 4 RBI, which was huge because that third inning, just a ton of bad defense. You had a rare Jimenez error. You had a balk by Boyd. You had John Kenzie Noel, who just looked like he had never played right field in his life, which, is going to happen sometimes. That led to 4 runs. Luckily, they stopped the bleeding after that, but it's like, if the Guardians' base running was not as aggressive as it was, they didn't get a little luck, let's be honest, that game would have been very, very different. And we're not sitting here talking about how the Guardians' magic number is down to 12, and we're talking about how they didn't get the sweep. So it's just interesting that the Guardians fundamentally ran the bases very well and defensively just did not have a great day. And
except for Lane Thomas
horridness. Yeah,
unable to steal, like he pure hustle on that second single. Whew. But man, I don't know what's up. I text you, I'm like, what's wrong? How can this guy with his speed be so bad at this constantly?
It is strange. Yeah, some guys I think are just better runners underway than they are agility wise. Then you got Jose Ramirez, who's really not a fast runner, but he gets good jumps, he gets good reads. He's just kind of a baseball savant. How about Steven Kwan? I again, we were trying to look for positives all week, and you can always cherry pick stats, and you can always look for ways to confirm your bias, like we all do, no matter what topic we're talking about. Steven Kwan, though, in this series got on base 8 times, and he ended up scoring 5 runs. Do we think he's really turning it around? Because I think the fact that he was hitting the ball the other way, like he took a couple curveballs to the opposite field, he was hitting the ball back up the middle, and they talked on the broadcast that he was working on that again, that he, had gotten away from it. Do we think he's finally turning around at the right time? And I also, we had a commenter say this as well. And I think they're 100% right. I don't know who the commenter was, but shout out to them. This team goes as Steven Kwan goes. He got on base 8 times. He scored 5 times. They scored 18 runs in the series. I don't think it's a coincidence that Kwan got on base that many times and their offense looked much better.
No, I think you're right. It's amazing what a difference your leadoff hitter getting on base will do, and just not being an automatic out, right? Like just having that ability to have a guy who's able to get on base, create a little havoc, and also just get more guys on, up after him. Like it's a very basic thing, right? Like on base and not out is a good, and he has been more likely than not to be an out and get on base. That it's a huge change. Like if we're getting even close to the Kwan of earlier in the year, then there's a reason why this offense cratered in the second half. And one of the big reasons is Kwan went from, a starter in the All-Star game to a guy who couldn't hit his weight, and he's a small dude.
Yeah. It's his first 3-game hitting streak since the beginning of August. It's a modest hitting streak at best, but again, this is a guy who was going from getting last year. He talked about in 2022. He talked about how often Kwan was getting 3 hits. Often he's getting on base. Like he led the league, I think, one year in 3-hit games because that's what he does. He just gets on base and he gets those hits. And for a guy to go almost a month between a 3-game hitting streak is a lot for, especially if you're a leadoff hitter. I mean, his on-base percentage last month was .313. It's .310 right now. That's not great. But hopefully this is a sign of things to turn around. And really, when you get to the playoffs, you just want everybody nobody's going to be at their best in October, right? Because it's been a long, grueling season at 6 months. So it's going to be about there's a lot of luck involved. There's health, and you're hoping some of these guys' bodies are just ready to respond for another month of baseball because it's been a long season. So hopefully Kwan's coming around at the right time. Lane Thomas coming around at the right time. And that guy was due for some turn of luck, right? Like I know a lot of what he did on Wednesday had to do with his speed, which is good. That's important that the Guardians need that because they are not your most traditional offense, even though they're middle of the pack in home runs now. That guy just was due for some reversal of fortune, wasn't he? Because it seemed like no matter what he did, he could not get a hit, even though some of his at bats were just terrible, and maybe some of it was deserved.
It's it's kind of humorous if you look like big picture of this outfield, where you can look at the course this whole year, and it's like, recently and maybe not so recently, it's Kwan turnaround, it's Thomas looking good. Heck, Ramon Laureano is a vital player for the Braves. It's just interesting how things have gone with the outfield over the course of this year. Noel, I am still got to play him every day. It's rough right now, but you gotta ride that out for the time being to see. Basically, got to figure out it's going to be him or Manzardo, in a bigger role in the postseason. But keep Big Christmas going. Hopefully, he'll bounce back out. But the outfield is it's fascinating in general, and it definitely feels like it's going to be one of the big limiting factors for their offense.
I'm definitely worried about Big Christmas. I mean, you and I have been worried about this stretch coming. Right now, he doesn't have a hit since September 2nd, and his chase rate's going the other way again, and then everyone's like, oh, the chase rate doesn't matter. And it was great because he was going 1 for 4, and he would chase a lot of pitches and other bad at bats, but that one hit out of the 4 was a ball going over the fence, or it was a double that really mattered. And right now, that is all evaporated. He had 4 strikeouts in the series, and he had 5 strikeouts in the series, and again, no hits since Labor Day. So it's looking kind of rough right now. Hopefully he gets to go in the right decision. Yeah, let him go at this point. Let him figure it out.
Let him go, I mean let him play. Let me clarify. I'm saying play him every day.
Figure it out. Yeah. And work with him on defense because that was rough to watch, as Matt Boyd probably felt on Wednesday as well, which we knew was going to happen eventually. All right, let's turn to pitching. We'll talk about the pitching matchups coming up in this Tampa Bay series. What we think about that. We'll also talk about another reliever that, maybe it's a reliever, maybe it's not. Another pitcher that could join the staff one way or another. We'll get into that. Most people probably know who it is, but if not, stick around. We'll get into the why of that. Well, it's hard these days to find time to work out. I've got a full-time job. I'm hosting this podcast. It's hard for me to do all that. Maybe you have kids too, and I don't have kids, but I mean, I'm married and trying to do all those things. So maybe if you've got a busy schedule, tonal is really the workout, the home gym you're really looking for. Even the most dedicated gym goers, they struggle with consistency. You got commute, how crowded the gym is sometimes makes skipping it very easy, honestly. But if Tonal's there with you at home, you can choose some thousands of workouts and train the way you actually enjoy without a lot of effort involved. And it's also powered by AI, so it learns with every rep, can deliver workouts that are personalized to you. It's like having a personal trainer at home, really. It'll optimize workouts for you. And it's not like traditional gym equipment adapts to your training techniques. So whether you're a professional athlete, maybe you're a parent, maybe you got 2 jobs, like Jeff and I, Tonal is trusted from thousands of people who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your first Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com. Use our code LOCKEDONMLB. Get $200 off your purchase from Tonal. Tonal.com. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB. $200 off. Guardians finally back at home after this long stretch. They'll start at 6:40 today and on Thursday. Check it out. I'm sorry, it's 7:15. Guardians have a rare 7:15 start. Haven't had many of those this year. So check it out on your SiriusXM app. Just search Guardians. I don't think this pitcher will be called up for this series, but keep an eye on Triston McKenzie. Maybe he came out of the. I don't want to say he came out of the bullpen because he really didn't come out of the bullpen. He just came in a tandem start behind Will Dion. But the Clippers didn't. The Guardians didn't really need to have the Clippers do that. Like it wasn't like they needed guys to get innings. Nothing special was going on. They weren't trying to limit innings. If anything, you could argue that they needed someone to go Sunday because Joey Cantillo is going to stay in the Guardians rotation for the time being. We'll talk about that with Alex Cobb. So McKenzie pitching out of in a tandem starter role was not really out of necessity by any means. So I'm very curious to see how intentional that was. And he looked really good. I watched that outing for him. 3 innings, 4 strikeouts, a walk and a hit. You know, he was throwing 94, 95. He had 12 swings and misses, and he threw 36 pitches. Over 3 innings, that is about as efficient as McKenzie has been since 2022, the one year he really put it all together in the big leagues. I'd be curious to see if that's a role they are considering. You know, we're still thinking about whether or not Andrew Walters factors into this at some point. The bullpen has, you get worn down. You're not sure what you're going to do. Sabrowski might factor in because you need that second lefty. There's Avila. I don't really know where McKenzie fits, and Carrasco's, on a rehab assignment this week in Akron too. I don't really know where McKenzie fits, but I don't think you want to start him at this point in a playoff game. But maybe if they go out and he ends up being a multi-inning relief weapon and he looks good. I mean, this worked for Carrasco, didn't it? Remember in 2014? They put Carrasco in the bullpen as a last-ditch effort to save his career, and they just said, go out there and give it your all, let it eat, and then see what happens. And for whatever reason, the bullpen role really stuck for Carrasco, and he just went out there and took his bullpen mentality to the mound, and it turned his whole career around. McKenzie, maybe it's a similar situation. I don't know. It does seem like they're trying something here, and I'd be very interested in the idea of Triston McKenzie bullpen weapon to bridge to the back end of this bullpen.
At this point in time, he has looked so bad all year. You can't consider him for a postseason role just from a few spot appearances late in the year. I mean, this is also, I think part of it too, is limiting inning counts with him. I think, you're looking at a guy, I'm kind of trying to pull up the data quickly now, where, he had 49 in the majors. He's at 75 in the majors, 75.2, 49 in the minors. So this is already he is on pace to have his second highest innings pitched of his career, which also kind of says a lot, right? For all the ups and downs, there have been a lot of injuries. I've been on record kind of from the beginning as saying that, he might be best served as a reliever as he was coming up. And then he kind of won me over with his performance. And 2021 was up and down. The 22 was really strong. But now we're kind of this point. And again, as a guy who threw 143 once, 191 in that great 2022 year. But, this year is like I said, going to be second or third highest total. And he just hasn't been able to consistently keep himself, at a high amount of innings. Oh, I guess here's another 141. Didn't combine the data for me, but there's been a lot of injuries. And that even goes back to the minor leagues where he missed 2 years. So, I mean, if he's ineffective, I think with Carrasco, the stuff was good. It was the kind of borderline head case issues. He had to get himself right mentally. And that, might be a case with McKenzie because it seems like he wouldn't be adding velocity, which he did throughout this minor league season if it was still the elbow. So it seems like there's a degree of mental here. So maybe in regard to that part of the question.
No, I mean, he wouldn't still be pitching if there was a health issue. And again, the velocity was up in his relief outing. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what they do with him his next outing and see if he ends up pitching more, because now things get a little dicey in Columbus because Joey Cantillo has to start next time through because Alex Cobb continues to be out with his blister issue. And if this were not September, he'd be on the injured list because right now it is September, so you can afford to just kind of let it go. But they're pitching with an arm down, basically. So Cantillo's going to get one more turn through in this Tampa Bay series. So maybe McKenzie ends up starting on Sunday, and they could go with the tandem thing on Sunday again with Dion and McKenzie. I wonder if pitching both them that night also helped them keep them on schedule for Sunday, just in case they needed to do something with McKenzie, in case they need to call him up if it couldn't go with Cantillo or if Cobb remained out, which he is. So maybe that factored into it as well. But not a great sign that this blister keeps persisting for Cobb, because this is what delayed his comeback in San Francisco before he got traded, and now he's going to miss his second straight turn through the rotation. He already got past the fingernail issue to come back and have a 6-inning perfect game. Again, when you get to the postseason, you just hope everyone's healthy. So I don't know. The way things are going, I wouldn't roll McKenzie out. Like, we'll see what he does on Sunday when he pitches again, or whenever. But I'm open. I'm open to the idea. I know I watched that game. Like I said, it was the most efficient he's looked. He threw strikes. The fastball quality was good. And for McKenzie, everything works off the fastball. The curveball is a good pitch. The slider can be a good pitch. But if he cannot throw the fastball for strikes and get hitters to respect his fastball, the rest of the stuff just doesn't work. So when he throws the fastball for strikes, everything works. The stuff is good. So I think you're right. It is kind of all a mechanics / mental thing at this point for McKenzie. So hopefully that's turning it around, and you'd love to have multiple options available to you to make sure that you have the ability to make hard decisions and say, well, this guy is good and he could help our team, but we're going to leave him off the roster. That's a good problem to have if you have more options that could help your roster versus trying to decide, well, geez, how do we get the most out of this? So better position than not. While we finish up today's episode, Oakland has beaten the Astros 5-4. So the Astros are 6 games back of Cleveland for the 2nd seed right now, which is, again, good. So I think if things continue, that last series against the Astros may not have a whole lot of meaning, which is good for Cleveland. As far as the 2nd seed, they definitely need that.
Houston will want to set up their pitching. So then that means you're going to avoid all of their best pitching.
Yep. And Cleveland will, have the first round bye, so they can, do whatever at that point if they want, get some rest. It would be good. Tampa Bay is coming in this week. You got Gavin Williams on Thursday versus Ryan Pepio, who's been a tough customer. Safe to say that you need more than 1 inning from Gavin Williams in this one. Friday is going to be Tanner Bybee and Zach Littell. So that should be an interesting game. And then Saturday, you got Joey Cantillo versus TBD. The Rays love their TBD. Then it looks like Ben Lively will start on Sunday. So that's a good sign that he is right now penciled in at start Sunday versus Taj Bradley, who's been very tough. But Ben Lively is tough too from coming back from that thigh contusion, which, again, his face just looked like he was in absolute misery. Jeff, I'm going to say I think you want to split here at the very least against Tampa Bay. I know Tampa Bay is not really in the playoff race right now. Like, they're kind of out of it. But this is still a team that, again, has good pitching. They've got some pieces in the lineup. You've got a bunch of ex-Clevelanders and Diaz and
Yandy's turned it around.
Yep, and you got Junior Caminero, who I know everyone's going to love watching Junior Caminero play his first games in Cleveland. I'm sure nobody is going to be triggered by that.
I'll say
7 out. They're 7 out.
They're out. Yeah. They got a cursory mention in a Castrovinus article today, whose name I know I just butchered. I'll say this though: if this team still had Tobias Myers with what he's doing in Milwaukee, none of us would be complaining because he's been good enough.
No, that's
the funny thing. Yeah. They just happened to give up on Myers too early. Or again, credit to Milwaukee might be better at that, like getting that little bit over the top. Like, they fixed Savale, and Tampa is known for being great at that type of stuff. Like, big credit to Milwaukee, who's done some amazing things. I left them for dead. I live in Milwaukee. And they've just shown, again, like, they're a fantastic organization. But yeah, Tobias Myers, 2nd highest WAR amongst their entire pitching staff. He's been really good for them. He's been a lifesaver. He's going to start playoff games. So, hey, it's just kind of funny how it's all worked out. But yeah, this Tampa team, that we're facing some tough pitching, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm just, again, it's a 4-game series against a team that does have really good pieces.
So I think good players. Yeah, split. I agree.
Split. One player who I think we can safely say, unfortunately, is not going to be joining the Guardians this year in his offseason. We'll talk about more in the offseason, but George Valera was out of the lineup on Wednesday in Columbus because he left Tuesday's game with an injury. He was trying to go up against the wall to make a catch, and he was a little short of the wall, and he had an awkward fall, and I think he was getting an MRI in his knee. He was also looked like he was holding his shoulder when he went down. So best wishes to George Valera. Guy just has not had any luck when it comes to health in his career.
What's it with Cleveland outfielders who can't stay healthy? You go back to Bradley Zimmer before them. They have a type.
They really do.
Power, production, and bones made of balsa wood.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, don't ask me when Chase DeLauder is coming back because I don't think
he's not.
But we'll see. I don't think they're going to risk it at this point in the season, but we'll see. So yeah, no Valera for anytime soon. Hopefully he's okay and it won't be a major injury. But he was out of the lineup on Wednesday, and I think he's probably going to remain out on Thursday. Lots to talk about with George Valera in the offseason. That might have been a year early on the trade, but who knows? He might not have a lot of value to trade him anyway. So
get ready for the Cody Morris deal in reverse.
Oh boy. Yeah, maybe they can bring Cody Morris back. I don't know. They might need pitching in the offseason. So
yeah, it's going to be something like Cody Morris. It's going to be a reverse deal like that.
We'll eventually get into that. As we said, the captain's good game one on Monday or Tuesday. Tugboat was solid. Sean Rapp, shout out to Sean Rapp, who missed most of the year with an injury and then has been kind of working his way back consistency-wise since he's been back. He came on with 2 on and nobody out, and I think the captains were up a run at that point, and he got 3 straight outs, so he closed that game on Tuesday. You'll have Dylan DeLucia, who's been really good down the stretch, pitching for the captains on Thursday in game 2 of that series. Come out again and come hang out. Watch Travis Pisano, watch Jacob Cozart, watch Ralphie, watch Angel Hanau, who had a home run in that game. Angel Hanau, man, it should be an AFL guy. I don't know. He's not on the verge of a 40-man spot this offseason, but I don't know. I'd put him out there. And
I'm close to saying top 5 prospect, Angel Hanau.
I think that's pretty much a given at this point, considering the season he's had.
Just they've had such
stronger.
The top a year ago, we were talking about the lack of blue chip. It's amazing what a difference a year makes. Like the top 5 is a little crowded right now. That's the only reason I'm not going to guarantee it, but
they're all hitters. They're all hitters. Yeah, a lot to talk about this offseason when it comes to pitching, which we're not going to be able to get into anytime soon because hopefully the Guardians are making a deep playoff run. So we'll see. So yeah, come hang out Thursday. I'll be at the game, and hopefully the captains win and they can move on to the championship series. We can talk baseball all night. Use our code and use our link to buy the tickets, and you can also win a Tanner Bybee autographed item. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll catch you again on Friday. We'll talk about the first game of the Tampa Bay series. We'll talk about minor league performances at some point. We'll also have that conversation. Is this Guardian season going to be a success? Is it already considered a success? I mean, one more Guardians win, Jeff, and they will have reached my top end prediction for win total. I said the Guardians win 85 games. They are going to surpass that. So I guess I'll be like one of our favorite commenters, Kurt Smith, and say that
every day, Kurt Smith.
It's already a successful season. They're going to win the same total I thought they were going to win the whole year. So I'm saying the season's a success already based on that.
Can someone help me out so I don't have to go back? Tell me what my prediction was because I don't remember. And there's a better chance someone out there remembers.
Teacher brain, as my wife would say.
Yeah, it was a day. Let's just put it that way. It was a day. We want to thank you all for joining us. And then, have a lot of fun with Justin tomorrow. I don't know. We'll try to figure out if I can take part, but thank you all again for joining us. All of our everydayers. Shout outs to John and David are kind of people. I think Siege with me is driving through Nebraska to make it to the game tomorrow. I think I saw in his comments today. So thank you to all of our everydayers. Thank you to everyone who's joining us. I know it's the White Sox, but come on, make sure you're doing this every day. We're having fun. You never know what we're going to do. Thank you again. And go Guardians win, and captains go Caps, cap. I don't know.